Hi and welcome to another video update from the Fire Brigades Union, recorded using a video conference facility due to COVID restrictions. Now this update is on the issue of firefighter pensions, a long-running update, and we're joined by National Officer Mark Rowe, who's been dealing with this issue on behalf of the Fire Brigades Union, and General Secretary Matt Rack. Now Mark, this is an important update today because it deals with yet another legal case that's just been announced. Just for clarity, our first legal victories were against the government because the government tried to force through changes to firefighter pensions. That legal victory showed that the transitional arrangements were discriminatory. We then ended up in a situation where fire and rescue authorities didn't then want to pay the pensions for our members that we'd won. That went to the Employment Appeals Tribunal, and that's handed down its judgment today. What was the judgment and what does it actually mean for us now?
Well, the judgment that's been handed down today is that the tribunal disagreed with the fire and rescue authorities and that they were not responsible for the discrimination. The way that the Equality Act works is that the scheme rules are automatically rewritten if they're discriminatory, and so the fire and rescue authorities must give effect to the rules as if the discriminatory provisions weren't there.
Okay, Mark, so this was the fire and rescue authorities saying it was the government's discrimination. It wasn't ours. We shouldn't have to pay. But the tribunal has said today, no, it is down to you to pay. So what does this mean for FBU members now?
Well, the fire and rescue authorities, whilst this appeal has been ongoing, has refused to deal with cases where members have already retired or should have been allowed to retire under the terms of the pre-2015 rules, because they say that they can't at that point until the appeal says, well, now that that appeal is over, they know that they can, and not only that, they know that they must.
Okay, Mark, now this seems like great news for our members, although I know a lot of firefighters and control members out there will say we've been here before. One of the key issues that comes up through this is the length of time this has taken. Why is it such an extraordinary long period of time been taken over these cases?
Well, in this particular instance, this is the fault of the employers who continue to run an unnecessary and frankly an unwinnable appeal. The Fire Brigades Union told them very clearly this appeal was pointless and that by appealing it, all they were doing was introducing further delay, which would result in financial hardship and uncertainty for our members. Okay,
Mark, that's fairly clear. I suppose the big question now is for us, for the Fire Brigades Union, representing and fighting on behalf of these members, what are our next steps? What are we going to do next?
Well, the fire and rescue authorities should pay our members the pensions that they've earned now, but due to their previous delays and excuses, we're simply not prepared to wait for them to do this, to pay our members what they're owed. So we're already in the process of starting new court proceedings to make them deal with these cases without any further delay and without waiting for regulations to be made.
Mark, thanks very much. Now over to General Secretary Matt Rack. Now, Matt, this is an extraordinary situation. It does appear that fire and rescue authorities simply didn't want to accept their responsibilities and pay the pensions that our members had previously signed up to. We've now been to court, they tried to defend themselves, they've lost. I mean, what's your comment on the general situation here?
I think one thing it shows is how workers can be treated in their employment if you're not careful and if you haven't got a union. Because first of all, the start of all this, we've got to put the responsibility where it lies with central government. They introduced new pension schemes which were an attack on our members' pension rights. They then introduced transitional arrangements to put people across onto those new schemes. What we were able to show is that those arrangements were discriminatory. We were able to show that those arrangements were discriminatory. But then we have the employers trying to dodge their responsibilities through this legal action, and they've now lost that. For our members, I'm sure our members don't really care who pays. They want the pension that they're entitled to. And many of them have spoken to me, and I'm sure they've spoken to both of you over the past couple of years. Huge frustration. It's outrageous that you're entitled to pension X and the employer says, well, we're not sure we can give you that. It's absolutely outrageous and unacceptable, and members are rightly angry about that. So there are members who could retire on grounds of age. There are members who suffering ill health who retired under the wrong rules. There are members who are waiting to retire, but they don't know what rules they're going to be covered by. This is clear. I mean, for us, the position is clear. They should be covered by the pension that they were originally covered by. That's the position that they should be in. The employers should now just pay up, stop messing around and pay up.
Okay, Mark, we go back to a point you made initially about this was the government's initial changes that were forced on all of us. So some people may have some sympathy for fire and rescue authorities. They may say, well, actually, it shouldn't be fire and rescue authorities who have to pay for changes getting forced through by government. What would you say to them?
Well, I've got some sympathy for that. None of us will want to see further cuts to the fire service because fire authorities are now paying improved pensions. So there is a responsibility on government there. I think government should do the right thing and pay up for changes that they forced through. In terms of fire authorities, I've got to say, however, they had the choice to take a different legal line. They could have actually supported us in our legal case originally and said that this is discriminatory. Instead, they chose to wash their hands of the issue and actually ended up in court on the side of the government. So I don't have huge sympathy for them. They've made wrong decisions throughout, under advice, no doubt, from chief officers and others. And they have to bear that responsibility. That's their mistake. Pay the price.
Okay, now Mark has previously said that the union is already in the process. We're not sitting back and waiting to see what happens. We're in the process of issuing new court proceedings to make fire and rescue authorities deal with this issue. Now, members will be very angry that we are continually having to take either the government or FRAs to court on this issue. So why don't fire and rescue authorities simply face up to their responsibilities and pay our members, give our members the pensions that they've earned? You surely must have a strong point of view in this.
Well, that's exactly, Tam. Our members are justifiably very angry about this. At the end of your career, to be unclear about what pension you're retiring on is totally outrageous. So those employers should put that right. But we're not relying on them to do that. That's why we will now use our members' resources again to take them to court to force them to put it right. It's regrettable we've got to do that, but unfortunately that's the world we live in. And I have to say that for these are the people who often, with chief officers saying, trust us, you can rely on us, we'll look after you in various circumstances. This case shows very clearly you cannot have the remotest confidence or trust in your employer unless you've got the backing of a trade union behind you. We will now take these people to court to win what our members are fully entitled to. That's what we're going to do next time.
Matt, thanks very much indeed.